All right, so I'm just sitting down here, literally doing nothing, and I've tried to do this video like 3 or 4 times now, and Sherrone Moore just got fired. Sherrone Moore just got fired with cause. So I've been trying to make this video like 3 or 4 times now, and I just keep getting new notifications, and it was he was fired. Then it came out that he was fired with cause, and then the athletic director made a statement. What? Okay, so let's just break this down here. Sherrone Moore is fired after his second year at Michigan, going 9-3, and being on the border of making the playoffs. After they lost to Ohio State, they weren't going to make the playoffs, but if they would have beaten Ohio State, they would have been in. They would have either gone to the Big Ten championship game and played Indiana and probably got blown out by Indiana, but they still would have made it in the playoff, Alabama, and we've gotten an extra team into the playoff. Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, and Indiana would have all been in the playoff. And instead, Ohio State just dominates them from start to finish. I was at the game. You saw. I have a video out. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. But, it's so weird because Bryce Underwood, this is Bryce Underwood's first year. Bryce Underwood came to Michigan, we know, because Michigan did pay him a lot of money. Dave Portnoy specifically paid him a lot of money. But, you got to buy into the head coach, no? If you're Bryce Underwood, are you transferring after this year? Is he just going to not play in the bowl game and just be like, forget it? I don't want to get injured? Because now this bowl game against Texas is huge, not only for the future of Michigan, because I can tell you right now, they're not getting any top 5 wide receiver anymore from the portal, or even any of recruits that are left. And unless they get a guy and he has wide receivers there at his other job, and he brings them to Michigan, they're not gonna get anybody. There's not gonna be, unless they get I don't even know. I don't I couldn't even tell you who in Michigan would target, honestly, right now. But anybody that's not affiliated with that head coach is not going to transfer to Michigan now. Unless it's an A-level hire, which it could be. Michigan has the money to do that. But you got to. This is a rebuild year next year, and a year that Ohio State is going to be yet again. This was Ohio State's rebuild year. This was the shot to extend the streak. And Ohio State dominated you for 4 quarters. And at home, Ohio State dominated you in Ann Arbor for 4 straight quarters. Wasn't really close. It was kind of close in the first quarter. It was that was really it. After the first quarter ended and Michigan had the 6-0 lead, Ohio State was clearly the better team throughout that entire game. But I'm really not trying to make this about Ohio State. But what I'm so dumbfounded right now. I have no words. And if you're Bryce Underwood, I feel like you have to transfer, no? But this was supposed to be the year that Michigan gains momentum. And instead they're starting over. Michigan is playing next year, which is going to be, the next year was supposed to be Sherrone Moore's prove-it year. Now, if he didn't make the playoff or come close to making the playoff, he would have been fired. And instead, they have to play Oklahoma in Michigan. They have to go to Ohio State and Columbus at the end of the year. An Ohio State team that's going to have their entire offensive players back. They'll probably lose Luke Montgomery maybe to the draft or something. He might even come back. I don't know if he has any eligibility left. But the majority of Ohio State's offense is going to be back. Jeremiah Smith will be in his last year. Chris Henry will be at Ohio State and Columbus next year. They'll have to replace some things on defense like Caleb Downs and Arvell Reese. But that defense is always going to be that defense if Matt Patricia's still there. if he can, and prove that this wasn't just the players that were doing it and it was actually Matt Patricia. Not a fully guarantee, but like this next year is going to be Ohio State's next best. This was Ohio State's rebuild year. Now it shows give a lot of credit to Ryan Day for being able in your rebuild year to be the number 1 seed or the number 1 ranked team throughout the majority, all but 1 week of the regular season, week 1, where Texas was ranked first. Ohio State beat Texas, then they went up to number 1, didn't look back after that, and then just lost to it by a field goal to Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. So Ohio State's rebuild type year from their national championship run is Ohio State being ranked number 1 in the country for the vast majority of the season. And now they're going to go into the playoff and have a first-round bye and be the number 2 seed and play the winner of Texas A&M in Miami. That's Ohio State's rebuild year. Michigan's rebuild year went from almost not making a bowl game to beating Ohio State to beating Alabama and having all the momentum in the world to signing Bryce Underwood. That was Michigan's rebuild year from their national championship run last year. And the year off of that, it looked like they were kind of starting over again. And then now, Michigan's got to start over again. Jim Harbaugh, who is one of the best head coaches in Michigan modern history, didn't have a great year his first year in college. So, and I thought the purpose of hiring Sherrone Moore and giving, the keys of the kingdom to Sherrone Moore was to keep the Jim Harbaugh culture. That's gone. Harbaugh's gone. The entire roster's gone. Most of the coaching staff is gone. And they're not coming back because they're all either fired by Michigan or they all have show clauses. And I can guarantee you that if Michigan even tried, this is not real by any means. If Michigan tried to hire Jim Harbaugh back, there's no way that the NCAA will allow that. So Michigan's got to come up and hire not a new offensive guy, but like a new head coach with no idea about like the Michigan culture or anything like that. And he's got to come in and rebuild a team that might not have their starting quarterback, their highest recruit, I think, if not all time in modern history. He'll probably be gone. He might stick it out, but I think it's more likely that he leaves than he stays. This is insane. Now, I want to talk about the fired with cause really quick, because the athletic director did come out and say that Sherrone Moore was fired with cause. So I had two possibilities pop up in my head as I was reading that. One, they found something with Connor Stallions again. They found a new thing that Sherrone Moore was either helping Connor Stallions do something, getting rid of evidence, even though we already caught him doing that, getting rid of, important evidence that would have led to maybe Michigan actually having a hammer come down on them. I don't know. Whatever. Or Michigan investigated the player-to-coach system going out in the Ohio State game, because Ryan Day did say that he didn't say it, he implied that, Michigan, that he was ready for it, basically. So it means that this has either happened to him or it's happened to other teams, and other teams have let Ryan Day know about it. And like, hey, Michigan did that. We were at Michigan, we played Michigan, and our system went out, and we had no backup plan for it. Like, he didn't say that, but he was like, oh yeah, we're prepared for anything, and then gave a wink to reporters. So he knew. And maybe Michigan investigated that, and Sherrone Moore had a hand in it, and they did it on purpose, and they fired him. That's a very real possibility, especially with cause. That it came out with cause, that's huge. That means Michigan does not have to pay Sherrone Moore's buyout. I don't know how much the buyout was. Probably wasn't that much, but you never know. I don't know what Michigan's contract was with Sherrone Moore. But this is huge. This is huge for Michigan as a program. This is huge for Ohio State because Ohio State might be able to get somebody from this is the benefiter of this is probably Ohio State because barring any miracle, Michigan is going to have another rebuild year next year. And they got to come to Columbus. And I know the last time we said that Michigan was supposed to have a rebuild year, that came into Columbus and won and planted a flag. But Ryan Day has now gotten over that. And it's harder to win with Ryan Day and his anxiety about this game. It's going to be harder to win at home than it is in Ann Arbor. And if Michigan struggles next year, that's a perfect way to do it. It's the same thing that happened last time that they were in Columbus. Michigan comes in and is not a very good team, not a playoff caliber team, and they come in and they win 13-10. I don't think Ryan Day makes that same mistake again in Columbus. Now, if Michigan hires a great head coach and all of a sudden Michigan's back up in the top 5, top 10, obviously that doesn't happen. And that this game is, again, a toss-up because, like I said, for whatever reason, Ryan Day finds it a lot easier to beat Michigan when it's in Ann Arbor, when the crowd's against them, than when the crowd is for Ohio State. I don't know. But this is huge. Underwood is probably gone. We'll see what happens with him. But he might be gone, depending on how he felt about Sherrone Moore. And maybe this was, and even, like, you can't even say this was because of Bryce Underwood, because this was fired with cause. Now, if he did something to the players, and there's something that comes out about that, then sure, maybe Bryce Underwood came forward and said something, and that's what got the ball rolling. I'm speculating here. I have no proof of any of this. Just what's popping into my head right now. So this is huge for and Michigan just fired Sherrone Moore, which means they're basically what Penn State was last week before they hired Matt Campbell. Is this going to be a Penn State situation where Michigan is looking for a head coach and they get desperate and they hire an NFL coordinator? Maybe they get John Harbaugh. That would actually be kind of funny. Or maybe they get Mike Tomlin if the Steelers fire Mike Tomlin, maybe they get Mike Tomlin. I don't know. This is huge for Michigan as a program, for Ohio State as a program, because everything Ohio State does, it ties to Michigan, and everything Michigan does, it ties to Ohio State. So, this is huge for the landscape of college football, because yet again, we're going to have Michigan come out to coaches. And that's another thing. Michigan could have not have picked a worse time to do this. Unless they're going to go hire an NFL guy again. If they go hire a college guy, who are you going to get? Matt Rule just signed an extension. Kirk Cignetti just signed an extension. Ryan Day is not going to Michigan. Kirby's not leaving Georgia. Maybe you get Kalen DeBoer. Maybe if he gets run out of Bama and loses to Oklahoma and the fans in Bama turn on him, maybe you get DeBoer. But I'm not really scared of DeBoer. What he did at Washington was cool. That was Washington, though. Everyone overlooks Washington. No one's going to be overlooking Michigan. So, this is insane. Obviously, I don't do videos like this, so I'm not prepared for this at all. I don't think anyone was. But this is huge. And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the fired with cause thing. Because if they found another thing with Connor Stallions, that's horrible for Michigan. As a program, as, PR, anything like that, that's horrible for the Wolverines. So, I don't even know what to say anymore. In some ways, it's funny because it's Michigan and it's your rival, and it's just funny because Ohio State I don't even know the last time they did this. And I guess maybe the tattoo gate, but that was done within 2 years. They had the really bad year where Michigan beat us, and then we hired Urban Meyer and beat him 7 straight years. So there's that. But I have no idea how this is gonna work. This is huge for, I don't even know what to say. Like, Michigan better figure this out, because if they don't, then people are going to start leaving, and people are going to start asking real hard questions about Michigan as a football program. And in this NIL era, that's not what you want. In a transfer portal era, there it is. That's not what you want either. I'm just gonna end it here because I got nothing else to really say. So I'll see you on Sunday for the Browns game, Browns versus Bears. That should not go well. But maybe I'll do something. Maybe I'll do something in this week. Maybe I'll grab a couple people. I don't know. We'll see. But stay tuned to then. Go Bucks.